My next picture is a mum and baby llama. I've been requested this many times, and I'm really surprised that I haven't got round to doing one because they're such beautiful animals. And I've got a lovely pose here with mum and baby, and we've got a nice background that I'm planning. So let's get on with it, and we're going to start with mum, and obviously we're going to start with the head and work our way down. We'll do mum first, and then we'll do baby. Now, as this picture's a bit special, I'm going to remove the graphite, which I've done a lot of drawing in this because I wanted to get it as close to reality as I could. That doesn't mean to say I'm not going to use artistic license, I am, but I do like it. Now what I've done is just taken off the graphite, some of the graphite from the ear. I can't remove it altogether. And then we're going to start with the white. And I'll put all the white in. I'll just do the first ear and then I can advance it. Okay, now that's the white. Now there's also a grey in here, which is 270. So I'm actually going to put the grey in the shadow area of the ear. And normally I don't do this, I put the white in, but I have found that if you put the grey rather than the white, you get a better finishing touch because you don't have to fight the white when it comes to the stronger tones. Okay, let's just go in again. You can see immediately you get the distinct difference between the two. Now in here there's just a spot of strength. Now I'll just put this in, and there's just a little bit more here. Oh, did I put the grey in? Yes I did, didn't I? Yeah, but this is 273 I'm using. And then into here we bring 273 in. You can see now that we have a good colour there. Right, I'm going to put a little bit of pink in here as well. This is 189, and 189, 273 work really well together. And then we'll be working on the darker colours. Another colour which I'm going to use, now we go back into the white now, is the ivory, because these animals are got a lot of cream in them, and be more obvious as we go on. Just making sure I've got that right. This actual white there is on the very edge of the ear, and it needs to be a little darker. In fact, it will pay me just to put a little more pressure on here. Okay, well that's the first. I haven't finished it yet. I've still got to work because I've also got to work this area and this, but once again we had the same problem as we had with the line. We've got to get rid of the line. It's best to do this as you go along because you've got a better recollection of where those lines are. If you went through the whole thing, by the time you got round to them, you'd forget that. So let me just do this next little bit, which is white here. Now this here, the light's coming from this direction, so this here is seeing more of the light source, so we've got to make that a little stronger. And we've also got a light source here on top of the head. Come round on this side. just there's a shadow. So what I'm going to do with that, I'm going to use I think I better sharpen my pencil up. This is 170, and we're going to put that in the shadow areas. So the shadow areas are there. You'd even need to get rid of this if you're using the 270, because 270 is a very light tone. Now let me just show you how we can put all this together. The white there, and that comes in here, and in there, and that's solid. And we'll be putting ivory on that in a minute. Now what you can do now is we can still put the white in on top of that grey, but it's the base is 270, so it will be easier for us to put the shadows in. Anyway, that's my idea, and it seems to be working. And once again, we use the ivory pencil to darken the fur. Well, not darken it, but put a bit of colour in it. Okay, now I've showed you enough there for you to see me see what I'm going to be doing and how I'm going to be doing this. So I shall continue this a little bit further now, and then I'll come back and we'll start to develop the strength on that ear. Look at that, you see that line again? Now that's what I was referring to. Now it could be that we're going to have a darker background on that, but the thing is, if you don't get rid of most of the line, it could interfere with the background later on. So let's just go back down on that line again. Now you see, it's hardly see it now. That one's all right because I removed it. Right, okay. Let me carry on then, and I'll advance it just a little bit with the white. I won't go into the eye. I'll come down here, and then I'll come down part of the way here, because we need to have an idea of what's going on here before we get to the face proper. Well, I've advanced it a little bit, as you can see. Now we're going to use the 270. You see I left a gap there, which means we can immediately see the difference between the tones there. Now this one is going to have to be darker as well, but the 270 acts like a base colour for that, so that's good. We'll come back to that in a minute. And we've also got a shadow in here which I put in 270, following the same idea as this. I've elaborated that a little bit, and I'll show you how I did that in a minute. Let's come back onto these ears though. Let's start off with this one. This has got to be a lot darker now. It was tentative to start with, but now with the 273 I'm making it just a little bit stronger. And then it's also follows through, but right on the very edge you've got just a little light, and if we can retain that, it'll look great, and I think we're going to manage that all right. A little bit of ivory up here. We've already put pink, just a touch of pink in there with the grey. Now it looks good to me. And we want the pink, which is the 189. A little bit of pink down here as well, just a little, because I'm going to put a dark colour in here in a minute. And the other thing we need to bring this back, 270 back, just to put just a little bit of tone on this edge, because although it's primarily white, I've done it here too. I've put a little bit of this colour in. It's a nice colour, 270, and it'll also go in here as well. So apart from the white and the ivory, which I've already put in there, you can put in the 270 as well. It's a lovely soft look to the image. Now just here, I've still got to put some dark in there, but I wanted to show you both ears at the same time. So this is 273. Once again, we can just put that in there and leave that slither. That'll be great. And that comes up there. And just on the top, there's some more. Very, very subtle. I've already put 270 in here. You can play with it yourself when you do it, but the better, the softer you can make this, the more realistic the animal is going to look. So I'm feather light touch now with that, because I want just, I don't want that, Colin. I just want just a little bit of this colour in here as well, like that. And then the pink 189 into that, and into there, like that. Colour shaper, just to soften all the edges. Lovely. Now the next colour is going to be 175. Now this is a vicious colour, you've got to be really careful with it. So let me show you how this is going to work. Put just a little bit on to start with. We can spread it with the colour shaper, so we don't have to go too far. Comes all the way down, and it's quite dark there. Now this colour is a little broader than that, so it comes in like that, and then that follows the 273 we put in earlier over here, to just put a little spot of colour on that. As I say, I'm going to treble that in a minute into the other areas. Now let's do this one too while we're about it. Not quite so strong here, because this is going to be just a little shadow really, and just on the top again, feather light touch like that. Don't need any more. Now what's this travelling all about, I hear you say, Colin? Well, this is what we do with it. I'm using the ivory colour shaper because it is the softest, and we can bring that colour up in. The other thing we can do, and you've got to be careful here, we can drag that colour right to the edge. In other words, I'm going half on the white, half on the dark, and it gives you an edge, which I think is fantastic. Just a little, could do with just a spot of colour here, but not too much. That'll be fine. Same idea here, we can bring this right up, touching the edge of the white, but don't go any further than that. And then what's left on your colour shaper can just be blended in to the ear like that. Now because we've done that, this needs to be just a little sharper, and also a little bit of pink in there as well. So let's put the pink in first, and then 175 to add a little weight, just a bit more weight to it. There we go, and that is finished. No need to do any more. What about over here? Now that is dark enough. We certainly don't want any darker than that. But because it's going across the ear like that, it means that we're going to have a nice strong white here. In fact, I say don't, but I think I would just tend to soften that a little bit. 175 is a great colour, but it can look a bit harsh if you're not careful. Oh, that's better. Softer. What about down here? Well, down here I'm going to use just a spot of 189 and a spot. When I say a spot, you can see it's just a little touch there, and a little ivory there, and let's do the same thing here. We've got the same thing here. We've got just the pink. You do it the other way around if you want. You could put the grey on first, but I think I'd rather soften it with the pink. But it really doesn't matter. And now with the grey, we're going to use a colour shaper on it in a bit anyway. And just a little bit of. And there's some very subtle tones in here. Now this is another one where we've got a shadow, a bit like this. We've already put 270 on it, and that shadow comes down to there. 189, so that's 273, 189, and then blend it. So you get a very soft, and that's going to come all the way down there. And some of that colour can be transferred. Now, but there is a colour here which I haven't brought up yet, right on this very edge. Make sure we've got that white quite strong there, and it travels up to here. Very indistinct at this point, but if you want, and I think I will, just make it just a little stronger than 273. It's where the ear attaches itself to the body. And we just do a little fiddle about. There we are. That looks good. I was on this, wasn't I? Well, what I'm going to do here, and this again repeats all the way down, we're going to put some colour on. Now I'm going to use the ivory to start with, cut right up close to that edge, and come out to about there. It's quite light down here, so we don't want to come down too far. And then on top of that, we put another colour, which is quite surprising, really. It's here we are. This one. This is 182. But we want a very, very light touch. Look how light I am, folks, with that. Okay? It's almost just touching the paper. Well, when you've done it, just make sure by putting the colour on. Look at that colour. Now that is really great. It's only that it's on the face as well. We'll repeat that a little later on. I love that. I think that's lovely. Can I afford it anywhere else? I don't think I can. I don't think I want it down here. I'm just following the reference picture. I'll make that just a little darker, I think. There we are. Right, well, I've spent quite a long time on that, but I think you'll agree it's worth it.